What movie really changed an actor's career? Al Pacino in Godfather. Producers wanted him out and Coppola shot the restaurant scene a long time before it was actually planned in order to convince them. Rocky for Sylvester Stallone. That movie single-handedly propelled his career. It saved him from living in the streets. His career was basically dead when he wrote Rocky. Did he have a career before? He was living on the streets of Philly. He was smart enough to not just sell the studios and demanded to star in it. He made almost no money off the script, and minimal money for the movie itself, but it propelled him into action star. He had been in some movies. Not sure how serious his roles were. One was a porno. Airplane reinvented Leslie Nielsen's career from a dramatic character actor to a comedic lead. I only knew him from Airplane, and saw him in something from the 1960s and kept waiting for it to be funny. I saw Wedding Crashers accidentally. I bought a ticket for Grizzly Man and went into the wrong theater. After an hour, I figured I was in the wrong theater, but I kept waiting. 'Cause that's the thing about bear attacks, they come when you least expect it. I know this is from The Office, but I worked at a theater where a guy complained that the movie 12 Monkeys only had one monkey. He had accidentally walked into the movie Ed with Matt LeBlanc. Bruce Willis in Die Hard really opened up the door for him to finally take Hollywood by storm. He was being typecast before that happened, and it ultimately changed not only Willis' career but how action movie heroes could be played in general. More everyman, less workout warrior. Andy Serkis in Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Lord of the Rings changed the careers of many actors indeed. Elijah Wood for sure, helped him move on from teenage movies, but Orlando Bloom definitely. He was absolutely nobody, and then everyone was trying to figure out who he was after seeing FOTR. Elizabeth Berkley in Showgirls. You just said changed, you didn't say for the better. Still had one of the best scenes ever. Which one? The epileptic seizure in the swimming pool? Or the full-on fist fight she had with her straw and soda in the beginning of the film? I'm so confused about this movie based these descriptions. Watch the movie. You'll be far more confused. For the amount of tits and sex it has in it, it's bizarrely a movie that's impossible to masturbate to. PSH, you're really underestimating the mundane shiz I can masturbate to. That unknown Australian actor who was cast to play Wolverine in the X-Men. Not only that, but the unknown Australian actor who used to be in musicals. Forgot about that, but man, he killed it as Gene Valjean. He was a great Valjean, and he was really able to sell the strength with how fudging buff he is, lol. Huge actor, man. Zach Galifianakis in The Hangover. Went from being a weird indie comic with a couple small roles in forgettable movies into a household name pretty much overnight. He was great in Out Cold. That's my motto. Well, that, and everybody Wong Chung tonight. Well, yet it doesn't really allow my dice to roll, and by dice I mean testicles. Speaking of testicles, let me get a beer. This suit is really cramping my hardy boys. It's no mystery. Anybody who says you can't buy love, well hell. They ain't ever been to Reno. Hans Moleman in Man getting hit in groin with football. Man, he owned that film. You couldn't take your eyes off him. Especially when he got hit in the groin by the football. It works on so many levels. Christoph Waltz was unknown in Hollywood before appearing in Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Bastard. Now he's really famous. He deserves it too, since he was terrific and he basically carried one of the greatest movie scenes I've ever seen. Fun fact, he literally carried IB since Quentin was about to cancel the project altogether because he cannot find anyone who can play Handa, as he is a multi-language genius, until he found Christoph Waltz. Hans Landa spoke English, French, German, and Italian. All Tarantino had to do was poke around Switzerland for a little bit, really. Probably big for Tom Hanks. He originally was a clown. Guy in a dress, straight man to set up the comic genius of a dog. Big had a lot of comedy elements but some really good dramatic stuff as well. Does some stuff that isn't as appreciated. Then he basically gets a string of just really well received movies, A League of Their Own, Philadelphia, Sleepless in Seattle, Forrest Gump, Apollo 13, then the capstone of Toy Story. After that he's king of the everyman, America's dad. I think all that was set up by Big. DeForest Kelley used to be known for being the villain in westerns before he got involved with this little low-budget TV show called Star Trek. Damn it, Jim. I'm a doctor, not some backwoods desperado. Asterisk desperado. Why don't you come to your senses? You've been out riding fences for so long now. To see Edward Norton in Primal Fear then in American History X, it's a shocking transformation. I couldn't believe it was the same actor, but he was perfect in both roles. The range really showed how talented an actor he is. Fight Club was a winner, too. But damn, American History X was rough. Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston in the first Thor movie. They were originally seen as two nobodies stupidly cast by Marvel. Edit. Here is the article from 2009 discussing It Was Falling for 30 minutes. Edit. I have been falling for 30 minutes. The amount of humor in Ragnarok and the comedic timing is actually impressive considering how stark it was to both Loki and Thor's previous outings. The falling line and get help get me every time. Ewan McGregor in Trainspotting. Hello there. Chris Hemsworth was an unknown before Thor. Edit. On the world stage as a huge actor, I mean. He was relatively successful before then. Indeed. This Vulture blurb from 2009 is interesting to see now in retrospective. They hadn't turned out to be so utterly wrong. That last sentence would have been a sick burn. The Cat in the Hat killed the career of everyone in it except Alec Baldwin. Mike Myers kind of disappeared after it came out. That may have been his swan song, but Love Guru killed his career. Oh, no, he's slinking back. And I'm happy about it. Don't forget that he was in Inglourious Bastard, and Bohemian Rhapsody, too. And he spent time making money on those Shrek films. He's stayed busy. Now if we can get another Austin Powers in, I'll be a happy guy. Austin Powers 4 has been on Mike's IMDb page in development for like a decade. It makes me sad. I'd love a new one. John Travolta in Pulp Fiction. He was pretty much forgotten when that was released. Not since. There's that joke in The Simpsons Itchy and Scratchy Land episode where Marge goes, even the bartender looks like John Travolta, where it cuts to him saying, yeah, looks like. This episode aired not too long before Pulp Fiction came out, if I remember right. The episode first aired October 2, 1994, and the film was released in the US on October 14, 1994, after premiering at Cannes in May. What a memory. Steve Carell had his big screen breakthrough with The 40-Year-Old Virgin. You could argue that his breakout was stealing the show in Bruce Almighty. Carell's performance in Bruce Almighty was utterly insane. Legitimately don't know how someone could deliver all that without breaking constantly. He is the master of deadpan comedy. And just the master of not breaking when nearly anyone else would barely hold it together at best. Tim Curry in the film adaptation of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. When he played Frank-N-Furter in the Rocky Horror Show on Broadway, he was still relatively unknown. But this film not only defined his career, but also redefined the role of the villain in film. Of course, Frank-N-Furter wasn't a villain, but his portrayal of one of the protagonists redefined how major characters can interact with each other. TLDR, I love this man. He also came to hate that role because it was so tightly associated with him. He couldn't get away from it. Kingsman, Taron Egerton. I used to think that him, the winning boy in the Hunger Games and Tom Holland were two same person. Do you mean Josh Hutcherson? Chris Evans since Captain America. People often thought of him as immature playboy, X, Fantastic Four. I know him from not another teen movie. I'm talking to you, Scott Pilgrim. You are a pretty good actor. But are you a pretty good skater? I'm more than pretty good, essay. Got my own skate company. Can you do a thingy on that rail? It's called a grind, brah.